Hey everyone, Mac is back. Today we're going to talk about a fighting zero castle. Last video that I did, we talked about how to empty your castle, how to basically become, or hopefully you already are, a zero castle. This time I'm going to talk about if you want to fight and not have to really worry about being rallied, because as a fighting zero castle you have minimal amount of troops in your castle itself. So basically, what does it mean to be a fighting zero castle? So you're going to have a high shelter capacity. You're going to have a high army troops deployment. So basically, you're going to have as many troops as you can possibly get. Hopefully, with an army buff, you're between 700, 900,000, maybe more, depending on the size, your size, and the researches and buffs that you have and that you're using. But you're essentially going to hide troops in your shelter, hide troops in your fake rally, and maybe even some you'll send them to some nodes, so you might be able to get 3, possibly 4, depending on how fast you are, deployments or total troops. And the big thing here is that you have to be very, very quick and fast for this type of fighting style, and hopefully these tips and these suggestions that I'm making today will help you get into that as well, and help you work your way towards it if that's one of your goals. So first and foremost, your what you're going to want to have is a very, very large hospital size. And you can see mine is only, this is not a castle that I'm going to be doing this, so I'm only at 500,000 here. What you need to do is you take all these mints and make them all into hospitals. So I have all these hospitals over here. You want to make all of yours into hospitals if you're going to be doing this fighting style, because you're going to get a lot of wounded, and this is basically going to be one deployment almost. So you may have it up to 700, maybe 800,000, depending. But make sure you get that up as high as you possibly can, because when you're doing this fighting style, you're going to get wounded, you're going to get attacked, you're going to make mistakes, and this hospital is going to be your saving grace. So the very first tip is to make sure that your hospital capacity is the highest you can possibly get it. In regards to setting up your castle and the attacks that the researches and stuff that you want to do for your buffs and your stats, the very first one is the army size. Make sure that you have this army size is one of your slots on every single one of it in refinement. Also, depending on the troops that you're using, you're going to want infantry attack, spear attack, and probably cav attack, and then possibly total attack if you can get that somehow. It takes a long time to get those, but if you do, total attack would be the best one, because you're going to be fighting most likely with all 3 troop types. If you're fighting with one troop type, then you're limiting yourself to the damage that you can do. But make sure, I would say, just have all attack in here in the refinement. There is the hospital healing speed and the hospital capacity. I would not recommend getting that in here, because you want to try to get this is where you want to try to get your best buffs, your best stats for your army, and avoid the rally size expansion, because you don't really care about that. You're not rallying anybody. You want to leave that one alone. The big one is the army size, because you want to be able to attack with the most and hide your troops. So when you do that fake rally, you can put in a maximum number of troops into that rally to hide them. So then eventually you'll be able to keep increasing that, and it'll do wonders for you in the long run. Another way to increase your army size is the glory level with the castle, upgrading your castle. So I would concentrate on upgrading the castle. It does take a while to do that with the honor banners, but you're going to get the talent points, which will help increase your stats when you change your talents over for fighting, and you're also going to increase that army size, and eventually you'll be able to get 100,000 troops in there. Once you get an extra 100,000 troops, that increases everything. Increases all your stats, increases obviously the amount of troops that you're going to be able to deploy, and the amount that you can train and use for fighting. This is a really, really good way to do that. You get those extra 20 talent points, which are huge as well. So just follow the follow the guidelines here. It tells you which, obviously what you need to do and how you need to upgrade that. But make sure you do. That's very, very important. As for your badges, you're gonna want to make sure that you have all 3 attack types in there. So with the infantry, cav, and spear, make sure they're all attack. If you only have those 3 spots open, make sure that those are the 3 that you're using. If you do get that 4th slot, as in, if I change this over real quick to my army, if you do get that 4th spot, which you can see mine is not open yet. Once you do get that, put a health badge in there, and that health badge should be that front line, whatever your main front line is. You can get the health badges from different events. They are very rare. The one that you use the most, or can find the most readily, is the Iron Bank event. So make sure that you go into it. Comes up, it has been coming up once a month now, but as you can see from the reward you get here, you get 1 health badge here, and that health badge, put it as whatever your front line you want it to be, because that'll be tanking those hits if you're defending or if you're attacking. As I previously mentioned, the shelter capacity is a major aspect of hiding your troops, and you need to increase that as much as possible. The first way to do that, actually not the first way, probably just a way that you'll do once a month, if you don't already have these castles, is to get the castle skins, because they give you a ridiculous boost in shelter capacity. So for the Might of the Westerlands, you're going to get 100,000 once you own that. The Rose of High Garden, you get the same amount. The Silent Prayer, and also the Crimson Fort. So that's 400,000 increase just for those 4 different castle skins. So make sure that you get those, because you want them as much as possible. You want a shelter capacity as high as possible. Another place to get shelter capacity is in your Maester's Tower under Commandership. Just click on that, then in your shelter capacity, once you scroll over a little ways, and you can get a maximum of another 50,000 on top of that once you increase that. And it doesn't take, and it's very simple to get. It doesn't take a whole lot of research to get that far. There are prerequisites for it. Take longer than it actually takes to upgrade it. It's only, if I want to say max, maybe 5 to 7 days once you have all your research buffs on. When it comes to fighting, you're going to want to, as any type of fight, you're going to want to have your preset formations on. So click on your military grounds, go to your configure army, and you'll have some of your presets. These are mine. I switch them up all the time. So these aren't very specific to what I do all the time. But one of the keys that you have here is make sure that your commanders are all gold, are all legendary. If you have some that aren't, make sure you get them upgraded. If you're going to try to do this play style, you need to have as many buffs in there as you possibly can. You want to have as big as armies you can with the that hits the hardest, and this is the way to do it, is to get those commanders in there with those buffs. Once this new awakening system comes, if you have Seg, I believe Seg will be the best one to do, because he'll give you that to start off for a medium-sized pay-to-play player. It definitely is one you want to get up there. If you don't have Seg, the other ones that I would suggest would be Chris and Gorel. Chris will give you, as you can see, I have him already awakened, the same as Gorel. He gives you 50% attack, and infantry health, and Gorel does the spear attack 50% and spear defense 50%. Those are the 2 main ones that I would get. Rob is the other one as well, is because he's been awakened, and he'll give you, I don't have him to that level yet, but he'll be at 50% as well. If you have, if you're going to use this play style, those 3 right there, plus even Seg, put them all together, maybe with Julian Gold. That's a very, very, very strong line to have, especially for players that are not whales and don't have the money to to get to Danny or Peter Baelish or one of those higher commanders to gold, or because they're really not as good unless you can get them to gold. Now this new awakening system will change that, but like I said, try to get those commanders if you can. As previously mentioned, you want to increase your army size as high as you can get it, and to do that, you want to use these army size buffs, and they have a 20%, a 50%, and a 75. So you want to collect these, and they are extremely vital to this play style. So make sure that you get as many of them as possible. For the 50% buff, You can buy it straight out and pay. It's 5,000 blue diamonds if you want to buy it straight out. I recommend buying one per day, for a few days, whatever, for 2,500. It's 50% off in the VIP shop. This is where I get mine almost every time. And for the 75% buff in the Elite Trials shop is where you want to get the 75%. You can only get one, and it comes around every other week, so you can get 2 per month. Just in here, it costs 3,000. It's expensive when it comes to the Elite Trials. But this just tells you right here, if you're still, you can easily collect these Tyrian medals for 5,000 total there, and then go straight to the Warrior Summon after that to get for a total of 8,000. But you can definitely get that if your alliance is very active in the Elite Trials. So that just gives you more of a motivation to hit those elite bosses and get the points, because that once you collect these, you'll really enjoy that massive bump. And another tip to just run by is that use the GT Arcade app. Don't use the browser. As you can see from just me moving around, I don't want to make you too dizzy, but you can see how smooth this is compared to the browser. The browser is much slower in my opinion, and I think everybody knows this. So if you are going to be fighting, you need to be very quick, fast with your fingers, fast thinking, moving around on the map outside. So make sure that you're using the app, as you log out of the browser, log into the app when you're going to be fighting, because it is just, speed is crucial when it comes to this playstyle. So you're on the world map, you've been fighting, or you're about to go fight, and you want to know exactly what what you should be doing, and how the playstyle is actually going to work. One of the biggest things, one of the tips that I'll give you on here is that to make sure that a rebel camp is nearby. If you need one of these rebel camps to be able to rally, so you're going to click on that. Any one of these. I mean, you could click a 5-minute. It doesn't matter as much. I would click a 5-minute. You want to click the highest one. So you click on that and start that rally against that camp. But make sure you have a camp in there so that you're going to be teleporting next to. So if I port over here, I want to make sure that I have a camp here that I can rally if I need to. Something to remember is that if you do come in here and you do teleport and then hide your troops in that camp, there are savvy players out there that will rally this camp and kill it, and then your troops will be gone, and they'll have other troops or castles around you that are constantly attacking you. So that when they kill that camp, if you have it rallied, your troops will be automatically get attacked or from defending the castle. So that's just something to remember. You don't want to be porting in, so you can see an area here. There aren't any camps here. I want to make sure I find one camp. Maybe I can find an area that has several camps, because if you have something that has like several camps very close, then they have to rally several different camps. So right in between here would be a decent one to do as well. So just make sure that you have rebel camps nearby so you can put those fake rallies up. Since your army size overall will not be that high, you only have a couple deployments, so you may only have 1 million or some troops. I suggest, and it's kind of a small tip at this point, it's not vital, but at the same time it could be. Most likely you're going to have a farm that's going to provide you with resources, but if you do not have that and you're constantly gathering to try to stock up for your next researcher to heal troops or to train troops or something, make sure that you have your increased gathering skills researched, and your army carrying capacity as well. The capacity is pretty massive. That's something you're really going to need. So if you're in your talent, in your talents here, and you want to scroll down and you want to have, be able to switch this off to an army carry capacity, this is a place you'd want to do it. Your gathering speed, and there are obviously more gathering speed down here in the capacity. You want to make sure you max these out when you're actually doing that. So this is probably the main area that you want to concentrate on. You can just reset your talents and save it as a gathering 1 or something like that, and be able to get those resources as fast as you possibly can, so you're able to maintain this playstyle. A few other items that you want to collect are the precise transfers. They are way more expensive than the random transfers. So obviously you can tell that because I have 818 of the random transfers. You get them all the time. You use them more often than you do the precise, but the precise are going to be key as well because you're going to be porting a lot in and out, attacking, moving, just like you would be in like a KVK type situation. And obviously you can use this playstyle during that type of event. So make sure that you have plenty of those precise transfers. Again, they are in the VIP shop. So if you go to the VIP shop, you can buy a precise transfer for 50% off. So they're 750. So just like the army buff that's down below, where you get 50% off, you can get one per day. I would recommend doing that as well as a really good way of collecting those. And there's 750 is really not that many diamonds, so collect one a day and eventually they'll add up. So then if you can get 7 or 8, you can get 7 a week and maybe more depending on some of your rewards that you get from your alliance, which could work out really, really well also. Another thing that you want to go along with that are the race boots. Make sure you're collecting those race boots as well. They're not I don't say priority, but they are very important because you're going to want to speed in and out depending on where you are and where your troops are. So because you got to keep the enemy off guard, so don't let them just watch you march back or speed back very, very quickly. Change it up with them. Speed back early, speed back late, and just keep them guessing so they don't know what's going on and how you're playing. And another item that you're going to want to have, especially when you first start playing this style, is the Tears of Lys, because they're going to capture your lord at some point. It's just really inevitable, unless you're very skilled, which you could be. It's going to be difficult. You're going to lose your lord at some point, so you're going to have to poison and kill it, and it takes, of course, 60 minutes to do that. But make sure you have some of these Tears of Lys. You can get them from events. I believe the Alliance Mobilization typically has them in there, so you can be able to get one from there. Other than that, I believe you might have to purchase them in a pack. So if you're getting, if you see some pack that has other things other than the Tears of Lys in it, I would recommend that as well. But I think you can get these from events as well. Yeah, it says great discount pack, so you can get them from the packs. I think that's where I got it, maybe too. But yes, those definitely have these on hand because there's a lot of risk involved, especially when it comes to your lord, because you need your lord for attacking and defending, and there's always that chance that you could lose your lord. In regards to resources, you want to make sure that you empty your castle of all resources, but you also have stored plenty of resources for the healing and the training portion. Because when you get attacked or you're attacking, there's always going to be dead and wounded troops. So make sure that you have enough. Make sure that you have enough grain. Make sure your gold is high enough, and the rest of these other resources too. You want to have them stored up in there. You don't want to have any on hand. You want to have them all 0, so that you're going to be constantly attacked, I'm sure, rallied, whatever it may be, depending on your size. And you want to make sure that you have enough of those resources to be able to train more troops and to heal the current troops that are in your hospital. On the same note as for the hospital, you obviously are going to need a bunch of healers as well. So collect those healers. You can get a lot of them from just hitting the rebel groups. Especially the elite ones seem to drop them quite a bit from what I've seen. You can also they have that, I believe it's once a month. You can purchase them from one of the little events that they have, but definitely collect these because you're going to need a lot of healing. Healing is a lot cheaper to get your troops back than to actually, if they die and you have to retrain them. So make sure that you have plenty of these in here, and the same goes for your for your troop training speed as well, because you're going to have to train new troops. So, and you can get more in the VIP shop if you so desire. A lot of times you'll have plenty of these on hand anyway, so you won't have to worry about them because you'll get them from different things. The same thing, probably the rebel groups as well, and rebel leaders. So just make sure that you so chests and events, you get plenty of both of these because you're going to need them for that purpose. And another tip is to fight with each other. Take not as in fight with each other in your alliance, but fight together. Go to a castle that you're going to fight, and one of you can port in with a bubble on, and then once that bubble then the other person ports in. It can hide their troops in that castle, and you two can fight together. Definitely coordinate through voice chat, because you're going to have, like I said, speed is going to be the utmost importance. You can maybe you both go in and you start fighting, and you can kind of pick a certain person that you want to work on, and it'd be a lot more fun that way. A fighting tactic that I would recommend doing, and it's going to take a little more skill, something you don't want to try right away. You take some time to do it, but so you're going to have your shelter with completely full, as you can see I have right here, with my lord, and there's a lot of times you'll really frustrate your opponent, and they will be attacking you multiple times. They'll just send attack after attack after attack, just to kind of annoy you, because they're annoyed that they can't kill your troops. Well, one tactic is to take your troops, recall them very quickly, take one of those attacks that they bring in. It'll wound your troops, but then you can just select your lord and then just boom, put them back in the shelter. So you'll have a lot less in here, of course. Well, not say a lot less, but it'll be wounded, whatever your wounded troops are. But if it's done correctly, they would have attacked you probably without their lord, because if they're doing multiple attacks, they're probably not they're only putting their lord in one of those one of those deployments. So you just have to get lucky in that respect. This is something that you can actually do from the world map. However, if you do it from the world map, as soon as you bring them out, you're not going to have access to this shelter yet. The devs, I believe, are still working on that. It's been a suggestion to them, so hopefully they do change that and we can access this from the world map without having to have one troop in there. So that is something you can always do. I mean, you could always recall it if you wanted to, and then just select one troop and then go back in without your lord. They hit you, and then you recall that one, and then you auto-select, put your lord there, auto-select it, and then go back in. So that takes a little bit of time. Like I said, this play style, you really have to be fast, because if they hit you with a one attack, and you may murder that first attack, but if they hit you with a second attack, you've had wounded, now you're looking at, you could lose your lord, and so it's just very risky at that point. So I would suggest staying inside your castle, recalling that group as they're attacking you from your shelter. Take that one hit, auto select it, boom, you've done it within less than a second, and your troops and your lord are safe again, and then you can assess the damage after that. As for your wall formation, it's going to be vital as well, especially if you're doing the tactic that I just talked about with pulling your troops out of the shelter. You're going to want to change your formation constantly, because they're going to understand, okay, well, now he has the cab up front. Now I'm going to throw some spear at him, and he's going to murder that front line. Well, hey, if he's going to throw that spear up in front of you, well, guess what? Then I'm going to change to here, and then he's going to run into that infantry front line, and he's going to get murdered. So this is a big aspect that you're going to want to do, is keep your formations moving along, changing up. Pretty much use these last three formations here. There are times to use these other ones, but these ones are the best ones to use. Make sure you have them researched as well. I'm sure if you're playing this play style that you already have that done, but just to remind you to have to keep changing up your formations, because they're going to want to like I said, if they're smart, they're going to be changing their front line as well when they're attacking you. And for my last tip, if you see a castle that you want to attack, and the castle is, say, working on another castle, attacking it and stealing resources from it, or just have a lot of troops that a lot of deployments out that they're attacking a castle multiple times, and it's not your castle, so you can't really do the same the same shelter, pull your troops out of the shelter because they're not attacking you. If what you can do is you could, if it's a castle that's, when I say medium size, it's one that you normally wouldn't take, you normally wouldn't solo hit it. It's probably a little bigger than that. But if you can time it right to where they don't have their lord in their castle, and it's out attacking, and you attack their castle, the buffs that they lose without having their lord are massive. So if that's the case, you should be able to use one deployment, go in there, attack that castle, and just do some good damage. It's going to hurt you probably as well, but they're going to have without their lord, they're going to be really, really hurting. So This takes a little bit more skill. It's more for an advanced player, but I thought I would just mention that just in case. You know, if you get to that point, just as something to think about, you know, in the end game for sure. So, so that's everything. That's all the tips that I have. If you have any questions, like I said, let me know. Send me a PM or something. I'm sure that I'm missing something or some things in there. I haven't myself particularly played this play style. I'm going to in the future, because I like to fight. I like how active it is, and just you know, a little shout out to my boy Ardo for his help in this and his suggestions. He's been playing this type of play style for a while now, and he's gotten very good at it. You know, with any growing pains, it happens, but you know, he's done really well, and I wish everyone else that tries this, you know, to even reach out to him for suggestions, because he's very good at this. But until next time, Mac out.